Coach Kalen DeBoer as he heads into year 3.
Welcome to Wednesday in Tampa. Our first coach of the day is from the University of Alabama. Kalen DeBoer enters his 3rd season as the head coach at Alabama. His teams have posted a 20-8 record across his 2 seasons in Tuscaloosa. Crimson Tide finished 11-4 last year, earning a spot in the SEC championship game and eventually being a participant in the college football playoff, winning their first-round game in Norman. The Crimson Tide recorded 5 wins against Associated Press top 25 teams last season, including 4 in a row across 4 consecutive weeks, to become the first program in SEC history to accomplish that feat. As an FBS head coach, Kalen's teams own a 20-6 record against top 25 teams. His 20 wins since 2021 are the second most victories against top 25 teams among active head coaches. Entering this 2026 season, he took some time to vacation in Canada. We were just talking, spent a few days in Anna Maria nearby to make the easy trip over here to Tampa Bay. Welcome to the podium, University of Alabama head football coach Kalen DeBoer.
All right, good morning, Greg. Appreciate the introduction, appreciate your leadership for not just the SEC, but college athletics. And just also want to thank all of you that are here and everyone that's not as well, that covers not just Alabama football, but the SEC, brings out the great stories and journeys of our players, staff, everything that's tied to our great sport. I do want to say just a couple things, give some props to our athletic department. Greg Byrne, just can't say enough about how much of a great job he's done bringing staff members, head coaches in particular, but a group of people to Alabama, and you can see that success coming through, and just not just the sports that probably receive a little bit more of a popularity. I think we were the first program this last year that ever had appearances in the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournament, men's and women's college World Series, as well as the CFP, and also had a player drafted in the first round, both for Major League Baseball, the NBA, and the NFL. So just appreciate our head coaches, all the staff members in the other programs at Alabama. Appreciate the support from our president, Dr. Moeller, on through Greg Byrne, and everyone who works together to make our place what it is. You'll see throughout the day, I brought 3 players with, guys that I just want to hit on just real briefly. I know they're well known in what they do on the football field, and so probably talk more about who they are and what they are off the football field. But Ryan Coleman Williams, Jr., already going into his 3rd year. Time flies, but I guess the thing I'm just going to say about him, as all 3 of these guys, as they go through their football careers, a guy like Ryan, I think it can't be understated that he's going to have his degree here in December. That's 2.5 years, because he actually didn't come in January, came in during the summer. So just something when it comes to a focus that Ryan has, not just on the football field, but off. It's so impressive, handling all the things he does. Zabian Brown made many of the great plays that we've had over the last couple of years in the secondary. Number of touchdowns, interceptions, plays that sealed games, helped win games. Just who he is and the steadiness he's played with is also, can be seen in what he does off the football field. He'll have his degree in 3 years here in December as well. And then Bray Hubbard is our 3rd member that we brought with. So 2 from the defense, 1 from the offensive side. Bray is through and through here with the Crimson Tide. Just his experience, hard-hitting safety that can play in a lot of different ways, extremely versatile. Not only does he have his undergrad degree, but he will have his master's here in December. So proud of these 3 guys, proud of the leadership that they bring. They are very critical to our success this fall, as are many of the guys that I will talk about as we go through the day. But these 3, I know, are doing a great job representing us here today, so I appreciate them. When it comes to our team, just really excited about what this season is going to look like. A lot of new faces. And so, there are some unknowns, but there's a lot of things that we know we can hang our hat on, things that we can build on. Greg mentioned, some of just the successes that we had last year, 7-1 in the conference, making the conference championship, winning a playoff game. We obviously fell short of our goals when it comes to winning the conference championship, winning more games and competing for our national championship in the playoffs. But there are some steps that I felt we took. I think there's a toughness, there's a culture that exists. You don't win that many games in our conference without, and we want to continue to build. We don't take these things for granted because, as I mentioned, there's over 50 new players in this football program, guys who have maybe been a part of the league at other places, but a lot of guys who haven't. And so every year you start over. Every year you build that foundation. You take the experiences you've had, and I think those collectively together are the ones that you really look at. A year ago, I can think about standing up here and talking about how we needed to improve in penalties, and we went from bottom of the pack in the conference to right at the top, if not the top in the conference when it comes to penalty yardage per game. And the ability to be great in critical moments, a lot of close losses the year before, and finding ways to be great and at the end of the half, in the red zone, the end of the game, critical moments, 3rd and 4th downs. We wanted to get more pressure on the quarterback. And so we did a lot of those things last year. We need to make sure that we don't take them for granted. You achieve what you emphasize, and we got to make sure we continue to emphasize those areas that we want to continue to keep strengths for us as we work on the things that we want to improve. Just other improvement areas. I think we really look at it. We want to be able to run the football better. I think that will help our overall team. That will help overall when it comes to protecting your quarterback. Makes play calling easier, and so that's something we've addressed and stressed within our team. Just taking advantage of the skill sets we have on the defensive side. Thinking about our secondary and all the guys that we return with the entire group, and then even some of the guys that are in the rotation returning as well. I think we added some pieces, not just in the offensive line, but the defensive line that can come in and really give us what we want from a physicality standpoint. Appreciate our coaching staff. We have a lot of continuity there. Defensive side returns everyone. We've made a few hires, some opportunities for guys that got opportunities to go be head coaches and coordinators at other places, bringing in guys like Richard Owens as tight ends coach, Adrian Clem and Derek Nix on the offensive side. They've done a great job gelling with the rest of our staff there and bringing the pieces together. So looking forward to this season. Really excited about this group. Whenever we have media days, I know that means the season's upon us, and these guys have been working extremely hard. Your season, or your team is made in these summer months. We got to come together and have a great fall camp. There's a lot of execution and things that we need to refine that need to take place just through getting the reps that will come here in the month of August. So looking forward to a great season. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Coach. If you have a question, Tommy, Jalen, or Kylie will raise it. Please give your name and affiliation when you ask your question. We're going to start. Tommy, let's start right here, middle aisle, second row.
Hey, Coach. E.G. from Yale, Alabama. You mentioned that continuity on your staff. How does that set you up for success this season from a coordinating perspective? And beyond the quarterback battle, what have you found yourself spending the most time on this offseason?
Yeah, I think just familiarity is so important. Just being around here this morning and doing different interviews, year 3 versus years 2, but especially versus year 1. And any time you have more familiarity, you understand who's around you, you understand the areas that are strengths, you understand the areas that are weaknesses. And so that continuity on our coaching staff is critical. It trickles down. You're not just coaching the coaches, but really what matters is what the players learn and what the players know. And so our coaching staff being on the same page, everyone gelling at the leadership level, at the coaching staff, will certainly trickle down and lead to that feeling of confidence, trust, and belief that you need amongst your players, which is the most important.
Okay, we're going to stay on this front section, front row.
Nick Kelly, AL.com. Kalen, you've got a lot of new faces on the offensive line. Did you expect that change to lead to improvement from that group?
We lost some good players that got obviously first-round draft picks, and like Caden Proctor, Parker Brailsford, some good players, some great players, that we're certainly going to miss. But I am excited about the guys that either return, Michael Carroll, who took a lot of snaps for us. Will Sanders has taken a lot of snaps for us. There's some guys that are within our program, like a Jackson Lloyd. We brought in some players that have been at other places, that have been on the football field, in the conference, outside the conference. What I appreciate about the guys who have come in, I guess really the whole unit as a whole, is how open they've been to just being coached, being taught, wanting to come together, feeding off of the energy or the talk around, it being an area that needs to be improved. But just focusing on really what they can control and not making it more than what it needs to be, but also understanding the urgency that needs to happen to be an elite group. I think, last year we had a number of guys that were in the mix, in the rotation. I think a lot of it's always, there's a piece to it where we were trying to find the right combinations, but there was also a lot of times where it was out of necessity, injuries and other, where we needed to make those changes. And hopefully we can find a group here in fall camp that really gels well together, is the best unit as a whole. When communication is made, it's understood and it's communicated at a high level, to where everyone's on the same page. We can go out there and do their jobs. I think there's the physical tools across the board in our football team, but your question regarding offensive line, those physical tools are there. We have a younger group, but again, I think that leads to the eagerness that these guys have and the willingness to be coached, to be pushed, and that humility that they have, I think can certainly be seen in the work that they've been put in.
Coach, we're going to go over to our section on the far right, about midway back over on the right-hand side.
Morning, Coach. Stephen Bernard, the league winners. There's been a lot of talk about the 9-game conference schedule. I wanted to talk about a big non-conference game that you guys have this year, which is a team you played last year at Florida State on September 19th. What's kind of the approach this year? I know there was a lot of hoopla and back and forth talk between the players last year, a little bit more quiet this year. So what's kind of been the approach from a coach's perspective to these players this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be, they're all these games are important. 9 conference games, each one of them. You can't worry about the next until you've taken care of your business, the one that's in front of you. First and foremost for us, I mean, is East Carolina. We got fall camp, but East Carolina, and then, your reference to the Florida State game, I mean, that's certainly one that put us in a tough spot a year ago, and we got to make sure we're at our best. It's a home game for us. We got to protect our own home turf there, and that goes for every game, not just that one. But it's one that just did put us in a tough spot. I thought our guys did a great job responding last year to the adversity that hit them pretty much smack in the face week 1, responding with winning 10 of the next 11. And so, there's lessons and things that and moments you go through. And I think that moment actually made us stronger as a football program and as a football team for sure for the 2025 season, and something that we need to make sure we take and learn from going into the next couple months here as we get into 2026.
Coach, we'll go in the section right in front of me, 2 rows. Kirk.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Kalen, you mentioned the running game. You clearly didn't run the ball well last year. Neither did Texas and Oklahoma, historically, running back rich programs. Is that a continuing trend, do you think, in college football that just kind of is a trickle down from the NFL or rules changes? And do you think that's going to continue?
No, because I think we've had success running the football with the rules, though, and not much has changed since then. I think we just got to do a better job. I think our league and our schedule last year, we had some very good run defenses, very good defenses in general that we faced, especially in the latter half of the season. And so you still got to find ways to get the job done. And we understand where that bar's at on what it's going to take to accomplish getting the job done and being effective, running the ball at a high level. And so we got to work to accomplish that.
Okay, we'll stay right next door here in the center, Kyle.
Larry Carlson, History of Longhorn Sports. Coach, I was hoping maybe you could compare and contrast Kalen and Austin for us a little bit and where they are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys that are in their different years as far as, Austin going into his fourth year, really the fourth year in this system. Kalen going into his second, so there's a little bit of a difference there. I know that both of them would say what they know now versus what they even knew a year ago. I think especially in Keelan's case, when it comes to just football knowledge, understanding of the offense, understanding of how you attack a defense, defensive structure, I think their reps have helped them really take these big jumps, especially in the last 5 months. And I think last year helped them too with the reps that we gave them. We're very intentional with how we distribute them, and so I think skill set wise, you're talking about a much taller, bigger quarterback with Austin. Austin, I think, will surprise people when he really gets out and runs, because he runs very well, better, I think, than most people think. Kalen is very versatile that way, has created with his legs, as a high school football player. You can see it at times. It's hard to replicate when you're in practice and a guy's not live, and what that might lead to on the football field in a game. But both of them are more than capable. I think they're high-level elite quarterbacks. Fortunately, we have them both in our program, and it's going to be a competition that's going to lead to a tough decision. It's one that we're fortunate to have, and it's going to be one that when we do make the decision that we'll be confident we'll do a great job, because they are two guys that are well respected by our entire football team because of how they work, who they are as people, and the production and what they look like on the football field.
Coach, we're going to go near the back of the room and the section to your right-hand side.
Hey, Coach. Rob Gregson, A to Z Sports. Obviously, a couple years ago, you had Ryan Coleman-Williams burst onto the scene. Do you foresee a potential path for a running back like E.J. Crowell or wide receiver Cedarian Morgan to maybe do something similar?
Yeah, I think Ryan's freshman year was special. Big plays that he made in big moments. I think a lot of our freshmen that we have recruited over the last, I guess, the last year's class and this year's class, I think, guys that come in and be impact players for us. And so we will need, I think we won't need as many impact freshmen this year as we had last year. I think you could arguably say there's at least 6 guys that had starter reps the latter half of the season. Then guys that we were counting on as impact players. Ryan that year as a freshman was that guy. And we're going to need that from those guys that you mentioned, both EJ and Cedarian. I think are guys that we'll be looking to that could have an impact that is significant and one that's needed to help our football team. They put in the work. They have a level of urgency, knowing that there's an opportunity for them to contribute at a high level. They have the capability as well.
We're going to go straight down in front of us, right in front row.
Justin Patrick, Fox Sports Radio, out of Pensacola, Florida. Coach, for the longest time, Alabama, they were the face of the SEC. Now it's been 3 years since the SEC has even appeared to the national championship. What do you have to do to get this program back to being the face of the SEC and, well, get the SEC back on top nationally? Yeah, well, we always want to have that expectation that you're referring to. And, we felt like we righted it wrong a little bit last year compared to the year before with some of the things we accomplished, but we also understand we fell short of what our expectations are internally. And so, every area of the program just has to continue to improve. I think that's my experiences over the years is you can see what the bar's at, and sometimes you can look at it and say you're this close, and sometimes you're further away. And
sometimes it's the perspective and the way you look at it. A coach might look at it different than a fan or an analyst. But for us, and the way I've accomplished it in the past is just really challenge every group in the team, wherever you're at, to improve. And we got to address our weaknesses. We got to make sure we continue to keep our strengths in order and who we are, understanding our identity, and continue to learn from those things that have happened to us, both good and bad, be better, and continue focus on what we control, and that's the next play, the next moment, the next game, whatever's in front of us.
Coach, we'll go straight in front of me, front row, AP.
Good morning, Coach. AP Stedham of AP as we see it. Beyond the throwing accuracy and the playbook mastery, what are some of the game management and leadership traits you are relying on to determine who will get the first snap?
Yeah, poise, a guy who can move the ball up and down the field. I really believe, I said it earlier, but our quarterbacks do have the belief and trust amongst our entire team. There's different ways where I've seen that, whether it was in the spring or as I've seen this through the summer. There's different conversations, there's different activities that we do where I really can get a good feel of it being genuine, that our team trusts that whoever steps on the football field and takes those snaps is going to be a guy that, and I think that's because they believe in both guys. The poise, though, that's hard to create, and that's what we got to do with our entire football team, not just the quarterback position. Putting guys in spots where there is adversity, where there are moments that are tough and challenging, how they process. But again, that comes down to the poise that you got to have. We need the guy that can move the ball up and down the field the most efficiently and effectively, and make the guys around him better. But from a character standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint, and again, a production standpoint, as I mentioned earlier, these guys have the team, and now it's just a matter of we're going to have to decide which one takes the first snap, as you mentioned.
Okay, we'll go straight down the center aisle, fourth row. Barry?
Yeah, Barry Trammell with the Tulsa World. Kalen, from the outside, it looks like you took on an impossible job following Nick Saban. It also looks like you handle it really well. To what degree is that true, and how do you feel personally that you've handled that situation?
Yeah, I think you can talk about how great of a job Coach Saban did in building the program to what it is, and the expectations. I just know my past experiences being part of places that have the pride and tradition on the extreme high level, like Alabama would or Alabama has. It'd be something that I wanted to be a part of, and I love that challenge. I love the internal challenge of just in the moment of trying to bring a team together to be the best we can be, but I also love the challenge of taking a program and 1 year, winning a championship is hard. What's so impressive with what Coach Saban did for so many years is doing it again, because everyone's coming after you, and everyone's going to bring their best when they face you on the football field. And so, that's what I understand. What I understand took place and happened here during the great times, and Coach Saban obviously leading the charge here. But I also love the challenge of trying to continue to build on that and continue to add to this program's great history.
Coach, we'll go over here to our right-hand side, second row.
Hey, Kalen. Colin Gay, Tuscaloosa News. Do you feel like this Alabama team is flying a little bit under the radar heading into fall, and is that something that you prefer as a coach, is not as many eyes on you guys?
Yeah, I understand why with a lot of new faces, and that's okay, because we got to go prove it. We do. We got to go out and we got to get the job done. That's really how I feel every year. It doesn't matter how many guys you returned. Last year we returned, I think it was at 16 seniors, and we had to go prove it, right? We had to do some things, not just talk it. We had to go, decide what we were going to accomplish, decide and commit to the process, commit to what we needed to do to get it done, and then make sure that the action supported the goals that we had. And so this team has a lot of new faces. For us, we felt, again, we took some good steps in the right direction a year ago. We feel like there's a foundation of toughness and resiliency, as I mentioned earlier. But there's also some things that we got to continue to get better. So until we prove it, we understand where there's going to be doubt because those expectations, as we talked about, are extremely high in the program.
And we have time for a couple more. We're going to start in front of me on the far out.
Connor O'Gara, the OG kickoff for the next round. Kalen, do you think your time at Alabama will be defined by whether you win a national championship?
I certainly know that that's an important part of what's happened in the program, so I wouldn't doubt that if that's the case. I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on just helping our program be the best and trying to bring out the best and raise the level of everyone around me, from coaching staff to our players, trying to maximize what we're capable every single day.
We'll take one final question over to our left-hand side.
Good morning, Coach. Bree Johnson, Hillsborough College, Hawk TV. My question to you is, what have been your points of emphasis on the off-season so you don't have the same outcome in this upcoming season?
The points of emphasis have been to continue to make sure, again, that what we did well, that we continue to emphasize those things and don't take it for granted. Again, it all starts over. It's a whole new team. Just because we did something well last year doesn't mean it automatically carries over. And then find our weaknesses. And I mean, I'm just going to, everyone continues to talk about it, understandably so. We got to be able to just execute better in the run game. And I think that is a mindset that is something where I feel like we got the talent. We got the schemes, the schematics. We got the people that can pull the trigger on things, whether it's coaches or staff or players, and we just got to continue to work because that area is going to make our entire team better and help us accomplish the next level of goals and successes that we're hoping for.
Coach DeBoer, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer, the first of 4 SEC coaches we will hear from today. We're about 45 days and 2.5 hours from kickoff against ECU for the Alabama fans who are at home keeping score. Getting very close to the start of the season. Let's talk about what we just heard from Coach DeBoer. Nick, I'll ask you first. You were writing down some notes of everything that you heard from Kalen. What stands out from the last couple of minutes?
Well, I think one of the things that people can't overlook is the fact that you have so much turnover on your roster, now. Like you said, we've got 50 new players. Well, I think you try to fill in needs physically on your team, like we talked about offensive line, being a potential issue, but really a good defensive team and a core group of defensive players that could be really, really good on defense. But how is that all going to fit together? What kind of culture are you going to be able to create when it comes to intangibles, toughness, sustaining a high level of success that you need to be able to get through this conference. And I think that, Kalen has done a really, really good job of trying to build that culture. But you never know how 50 new players are going to respond to it. And I think that's going to be the key to the drill for him.
He clearly knows they've got to run the football better. I mean, that was asked of him a lot. He addressed that. He talked about some offensive linemen. He singled out Jackson Lloyd, William Sanders, Michael Carroll. Those are guys who have been there. Yeah. And then obviously they brought in some guys via the transfer portal. One thing that I found interesting just about the quarterback race, poise was the first thing he talked about. Yep. And then he also talked about the belief of the teammates in the locker room. We talk about this a lot, that sometimes the locker room will choose the quarterback. They'll follow that guy. So I'm intrigued with this summer, what's been transpiring. A lot of 7-on-7 taking place over the summertime. So which players are starting to gravitate naturally to that quarterback, ultimately probably going to win that job?
I love that he brought up the word familiarity, and that's very key because, like you said, Coach, 50 new players. How do we all come together, get to know each other? Because when you get to know somebody and you care for that person, you're willing to go just a little bit further for that person when the situation gets hot. Mm-hmm. And that's what you got to try and recreate as much as you can in practice, are those situational football things where you're going to put some pressure on the offense. They got to, you got one timeout. You got no timeouts. You got to get the ball 50, 60 yards, get us in field goal range. Like those situations, you can't do enough for a team that's young, that needs to come together and put some pressure on the defense, put them behind the 8 ball, put them in the red zone and tell them you can't give up a touchdown. These situations you can't do enough. Another thing that he talked about was they want to be able to run the football, not to just say we're running the football better, but because we want to protect our quarterback more. Last year, Ty Simpson was hurt by the end of the year because they could not run the football. Georgia knew it, everybody knew it, and the quarterback got hit more. If I want to continue to keep these high-rated quarterbacks here in my program, I got to protect them. It starts with running the football, and it makes play calling easier. All these little things were great for me. And the one thing I want to ask Coach Lang, if you don't mind. Coach, he talked about the offensive line, that they have the physical tools. They're a young group. He used that term. They have the physical tools. Well, how do we get the young players and the players on the offensive line to not just have the physical tools, but play up to their ability? What do we do? How can we challenge those guys? And you played a lot of them, so you'd be a great person to have.
Well, first of all, I think offensive line is one of the positions in football that if you do a really good job of teaching and coaching fundamentals at that position, footwork, hand placement, playing together, communicating well, understanding the defense and how you're attacking it and how you're going to block it, you can make huge improvements because I think you can overcome some physical deficiencies, at that position if you have a really good, coach, a really good scheme and able to run the ball. So I think they're making strides in that direction. I think that's going to be really, really important for them. Because what people don't understand is if you can't run the ball, you can't stay ahead of the sticks.
No.
In other words, you're always behind the 8 ball down and distance-wise, which gives the defense a tremendous advantage when it comes to how do they affect the quarterback. Because it's 2nd and 9 instead of 2nd and 6. And that's huge. I mean, that's my whole thing on defense as a defensive coach is I was trying to get the offense behind the 8 ball so we could go do what we wanted to do to affect the game. It starts with the offensive line's ability not to allow the defense to do that, run and pass.
We're going to dive more into some of the names, the units coming up in just a few minutes, but I do want to kick it back to you guys because I want to ask Coach another follow-up question from something all three of you said, that culture, right? And whether you're a 10-year head coach or you're entering your 3rd year, Nick, you said it, when you have so many new faces, how do you install that culture in just a couple of months? Or can you? Is the way you approach 2026 different from the way you could have approached building a culture of a program 10 years ago?
Look, I think you have to approach the culture the same as you did 10 years ago. When it comes to discipline, toughness, people giving effort, being able to overcome adversity, a lot of the things that great competitors have to be able to do, that never changes. Now, you can change the system of offense or defense or whatever it is, but you cannot change the culture. And I think that's so key. And I think some people have compromised the culture a little bit because there is so much movement in college football, so we can get these guys to come in if we make it a little easier. But you got to have a high standard, and you got to treat your people really well to be successful. And if you compromise the standard and treat people well, that's not good. If you have a high standard and don't treat the people well, but really when I say treat them well, I'm talking about do what you need to do so that they can be as good as they can be. And that's how they'll respect the coaches and the staff because you are creating value for their future.
A lot of things have changed, but the pillars of success continue to remain the same.
Right, yeah, and nobody could speak better to it than Coach Saban here, who has gotten the best out of a lot of college football players over the past couple of years.
Good too.
You were all right. Hey, what was it like playing 50 years ago for Alabama, Roman?
Well, hey, I wanted this guy so bad. We recruited him when he was in high school. He wouldn't even talk to us when I was at LSU, so he goes to Alabama. And, I always treated the safeties on the team.
Yeah.
And higher esteem than a quarterback. He didn't get that.
You know why he picked Bama, right? Tell him why you actually picked Bama.
I mean, because first of all, my mom wanted me to stay in the state. All right, we're not going into this. We got a commercial break. We'll talk about this later. Dick always is on my back. He always tells me I would have went first round if I played for him.
It may or may not have had something to do with the swag bag that Alabama was giving out at the time and what the colors might have matched the high school gear and all the.
I know I look good in it.
It worked out great for everybody. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to dive more into the roster for this Alabama team. We heard Coach DeBoer talking about those two, the quarterbacks. What is this competition going to look like like as we get closer and closer to fall camp? Who will be QB1 by the time we see Alabama on September 5th against East Carolina? We'll get into all of that. SEC Now 2026 SEC Kickoff is presented by Regions Bank. Welcome back to SEC Now 2026 SEC Kickoff presented by Regions Bank. We've had such a great week so far here in Tampa, Florida. The first time this city has hosted this event, the first time the state of Florida has hosted this event, and we have had such a great time already off and running talking about this Alabama Crimson Tide team. When it comes to the storylines for this 2026 squad, it is year 3 under Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa. The last 2 coaches to win a title with the Tide, Nick Saban and Gene Stallings, both got it done in year 3. Ryan Coleman Williams looking to break out of last year's sophomore slump, a relative drop-off after earning first-team all-conference honors as a freshman. And there's a new quarterback in Tuscaloosa and a battle for the first time since 2016. Austin Mack and Kalen Russell will go head-to-head for the job, and it's something Kalen DeBoer was talking about on the podium behind us just a few minutes ago. Dusty, I'm going to go to you first. When you look at the quarterback that's going to be tasked with replacing Ty Simpson with a lot of new faces around him on the offensive side of the football, what are the intangibles that need to be checked for Kalen DeBoer to name his starter?
Well, you got to take care of the football. I think that's going to be one thing that's going to be a key. But I'm looking for playmaking. I'm looking for a guy who can put pressure on a defense. And to me, that's Kalen Russell. I mean, this is a guy, and again, you want to help the run game, give me a mobile quarterback, because I think that's going to be able to open some things up as well. Austin Mack's obviously been there for a long time, comes over from Washington, so he's got experience within this system. But Kalen Russell, as we saw in the spring game, he's a game changer. And what he can do athletically with his feet, with his arm, he had a ton of success at Duncanville High School coming out of Texas. And there's a reason he was the #1 quarterback in the country coming out. So, I look at things from a defensive perspective a lot of times. And I think about quarterbacks that can really put pressure on a defense. And guys that when I watch them, I say, I don't want to have to mess with that dude because we can do a lot of things right, and he still makes us wrong. And But at the same time, there is that trust, there is that comfort level, I'm sure, with Austin Mack being in the system, having a great understanding, being a little bit older, more mature. Coach talked about poise. That's why I think it'll be interesting exactly what determines who wins this job. But as I look at it right now, I'm looking at this young, talented Kalen Russell, and I'm thinking, man, I think this guy could create some real issues for SEC defenses this year.
I think Dusty brings up a great point about doing those things, and I think that's all valuable. I just know from a coach's perspective, once you go young, you can't go back.
Right.
I like starting off with Austin Mack because he's the older presence, because he is the senior that's been around this program, and he should be the one that's more poised and being in situational football awareness. He talked about Kalen Russell. The biggest thing that he's learned early this year is that what the defenses are doing. He knows what the offense is doing, but now he's still trying to figure out what the defense is doing, and that's part of playing quarterback as well. You got to understand what everybody's doing, not just what on your side of the huddle, but also what the defense is doing and what they're doing so you can get us in the best situations. So then you're not in the 2nd and 9 like Coach talked about earlier. Now you're in a 2nd and 6, a 2nd and 5, much manageable place. So I would start with Austin Mack because of the veteran presence, because you can always go back to the young guy when you need to and fill him in and all of a sudden get him his reps. I think Coach did this a couple years ago with a guy named Jalen Hurts. Didn't start off the game, but he eventually became your starter.
Yeah, well, look, I think both these guys are capable.
I agree.
And sometimes you got to say, quarterback's the most difficult position to play based on how the people around you play. So that may have something to do with who they determine is the starter. What's the best fit with the rest of the players on the team? I think both guys are capable. I do agree with you. Kalen Russell, I've watched this guy for 2 springs. He didn't play much in the fall. I've watched him in 2 springs. This guy is a talented guy who is a playmaker who can make plays. And whether he's ready to play now or not, obviously the coaches have to determine that. He is going to be an outstanding player in the future.
And it's not always the worst situation to have multiple quarterbacks you could tap, right? Take us back to 2016. What did the first 3 games of the year look like for you on the way to an eventual national championship?
Yeah, that was probably the biggest quarterback controversy we ever had.
Yeah.
We played 3 different guys in 3 different games. Ole Miss beat us. We played horribly. We finally land on Jake Coker, who was a transfer, 5th-year guy coming from Florida State. But we had Derrick Henry. We had a good offensive line. We had a good defensive team. We just needed a quarterback to manage the game and not mess it up and be able to throw the ball down the field and complement the great running game we had. When we landed on Jake Coker, he could do exactly that. That goes back to my statement about who fits the rest of the team. Jake Coker fit the rest of the team. Derrick Henry gained 1,800 yards. We made lots of big plays down the field because we could run it, and we won the national championship. So if you'd have watched us the first 3 games of the season, you'd say these guys might not have a winning season.
Which is also, as Coach is talking, like, it is going to be a young offensive line. I heard Kalen DeBoer mention that multiple times. Where are they at pass protection-wise? We're focusing so much offensive line running the football. Sometimes for a young offensive lineman, that's easier, lining up and just being able to move people off the ball. You start to mess with pressures and different, pass rush games. That can be more complicated, and that's the communication you talked about with the young offensive line. So that's another aspect of this too. If pass protection isn't a premium, and you've got a quarterback who can really move around and create and escape and extend plays, I think that's another factor that could be a part of this conversation with this quarterback race too.
Or it's the way that I want to protect him, so I'm not going to throw him to the wolves yet. I need to save him because my O-line's not ready to protect him enough. So these are the balances in the question that ultimately coach has to kind of decide because, yes, the talent is great, but we've seen a lot of young talented players ruined by putting them in the fire too early, and all of a sudden now they're scared, they're looking down, they're not able to look up and feel comfortable in the pocket because of the pressure and them actually getting hit.
Is there a bigger conversation to have as far as offensive line? And I've called a lot of games in my career with Matt Stinchcomb, so he's either going to be really mad at me or maybe really happy that I'm bringing up the offensive line. I feel like, and maybe it's just because it's talking season in July, every team, oh, God, they got to be better on the offensive line. We're just talking about protection issues in general more than I felt like we were maybe 5-10 years ago.
Well, it's just so hard to – look, speed is an abundance. We can go find speed. But it's hard to find big guys that want to get nasty, right? And when when you say bad things about big guys, it's the only compliment. You know, you're nasty, you're dirty. Like, these are good compliments for offensive line, and they don't grow them on trees. They're hard to find. They're at a premium, and you know, all the big guys want to play tight end. You know, they want to catch touchdowns. They want to do the sexy stuff. You got to have a different mentality to be one of the big guys up front that want to do those things, and they're hard to find.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I will say this. We keep talking about young players. My experience as a coach, a good player is a good player. You know, Jalen Hurts had a lot more experience than Tua when he was a freshman. Tua comes in, is a good player, wins the national championship game, coming in at halftime. Good players are good players. They develop more quickly. They have the kind of instincts and awareness that help them develop quickly, and they can play. I could never coach a bad player to play good, so we just had a lot of good players.
Yeah, that's fair.
Having good players helps a lot. By the way, my nickname was Dirty D, so it helps if you're a little bit dirty.
Isn't that like a
little
SpongeBob
nasty
character, Dirty D?
I don't know.
I feel like it was.
It was a thing. I just, to his point,
I'm calling
a little
you
bit
that
nasty
forever
You
now.
got
Over to Dirty
trenches.
D. Speaking of talented young players, I think we have some video of a very talented young player in Tuscaloosa, perhaps in the offseason, that Coach Saban was maybe coaching up already on the field in Bryant Denny? Or can we roll that video? Oh, there he is. Class of 2050. I don't even know, Coach.
He's 6.
So what do we think of the throwing motion so far for your grandson?
But I'm telling you, he is a very good athlete. Look, 6-year-old throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And he's got all the right stuff. You know, when he scores a touchdown, he's going to spike the ball. He's got it all.
Shout out to your daughter, Kristen, for posting that video.
Awesome.
Hey, you start him young in the state of Alabama and here in the SEC, that's for sure. We're going to take a break. When we come back, get ready, Roman. We're going to talk